Welcome to All Things Cricket, and this is a special episode because I have been joined by one of Twitter's, amazing personalities, especially on cricket, because you get to hear almost all sorts of news related to cricket from this guy, and he's usually the first one to break all the news, and not just important ones, but also a lot of underrated stuff. A lot of insightful information about cricket and cricketers in general, which you might not actually find on websites like Cricinfo or CricBuzz, etc. So I've been joined by Jones Benny, who's also known as CRIC CRAZY Johnns. So Jones, thank you so much for taking out time for my channel, and how are you?
First of all, I'm fine. Kerala has been a bit of worry with COVID,
Yeah.
but still they are doing very well. And coming to breaking out news, all thanks to these websites. I'm
Yeah.
not doing anything. All thanks to lots
Yeah.
of journalists who are working so hard day and
Yeah.
out. I'm just taking that stories, etc.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, so if you can tell a little bit about yourself to the viewers also, because I'm sure that you have a huge following, almost like more than 50,000 followers on Twitter, but on YouTube, your presence is not that much. So if somebody doesn't really know you as much, how would you introduce yourself to them? Like, would you, because I know Crick, Crazy Jones, in itself, these three words are enough to explain about what you do. But if you had to tell somebody who's meeting you for the first time, how would you describe yourself?
First of all, I'm from Kerala. I used to watch cricket from last 14, 15 years. Around when Dhoni started his career, I started watching cricket. So he has influenced me a lot as a person and as a cricket viewer. Then that love changed to Chennai Super Kings, and I have been following the team since 2008. When they got banned, it was really a tough time. Then when they came back, they won the title. So these things can correlate within my life.
Yeah. Well, just to tell you, I am also as much a Dhoni fan as you are because I am from Delhi. I live in Mumbai, but from 2013 to 19, I was in Chennai. And even before that, since season one, I was also following CSK only because of MSG. And I think our timing matches a lot because I also started watching cricket seriously when I was in that around that era only when Dhoni was starting out. And of course, I mean, lot of good memories with CSK and Dhoni, like the World Cup and the other titles and a couple of IPL titles. But actually, you know what? With CSK, the bad memories in IPL are actually more because we have won just three titles, but so many final losses, especially to MI.
Yes,
1 run loss, and then even when he
yes.
was with Pune in 2017, another 1 run loss. So and that day, just last weekend, Pollard taking the game away from us. But now coming on to suspension, yesterday I was watching a video where Rashid Latif on Caught Behind channel. So he was actually discussing that both PSL and IPL actually could have done better this time in terms of planning because since this time, especially in IPL, there was no home and away advantage kind of thing because of neutral grounds. Do you think that we could have actually uh, made the schedule in such a way that one team plays other team only once? So that would have made the tournament smaller and of course lesser travel, lesser risk, lesser matches. So maybe instead of thinking from a business point of view for broadcaster and all the money coming from advertising or especially the the fantasy teams these days, it's a huge business. So instead of thinking from a business point of view, if they would have thought with a purely cricketing point of view and the situation around the world, if the planning would have been better, we could have actually avoided this suspension.
First of all, I think that traveling was the bigger mistake. They were exposed to the public, but I don't think getting only one match each, playing each other won't be a nice idea. Especially as you told, the business point of view,
Yeah.
teams won't be that much interested, and we have that window as well, 2 month window.
Yeah.
It's two. We can conduct this thing. First of all, I think they should have reduced the number of venues. These, if you look at right now, they played in Chennai, they played in
Yeah.
Mumbai, they played in Motera, Delhi. That means they are covering all India.
Yeah.
They didn't play all the state, but still they have covered all India, and they were exposed to the public.
Yeah.
So I think they should have reduced the number of venues, like playing more matches in
Mm.
Mumbai and Pune.
Yeah.
Especially Mumbai has three venues:
Yeah.
Divai Pate, Brabon, and Wangade. Then I think you can travel to Pune as well, if I'm
Mm.
right. I don't know the exact kilometers as
Mm-hmm.
well from Mumbai to Pune.
It's
So
around three
there are
hours.
four.
Yeah.
Yes, so they can, because they have traveled.
Mm.
Like last year, if you look at, they went to Sharjah, to Dubai, to Abu Dhabi, all through buses. So they could have traveled that way. So
Mm.
you are getting almost five venues in that
Yeah.
on that space. So they should have done that. Even though Mumbai had that COVID cases rises
Yeah.
during that time, but still, if you look at the bio bubble they made in UAE,
Mm.
they should have done even more better this time. So the scheduling and the venues was the bigger factor of canceling this
Mm.
IPL 2021.
So now, going forward, the only window which actually seems feasible and available is that September window before World Cup and after India England series. If I'm not wrong, the last Test match ends on 14th of September.
Yes,
So that way, that means, and the main round of World Cup starts on 26th October, isn't it? The Super 12. Before
yes,
that,
yes,
it's only the
yes,
qualifying teams. So that is more than a month. So if somehow, if
yes.
World Cup is also going to happen in UAE, which seems a high possibility now, because IPL was supposed to be kind of an audition for India to hold a World Cup, but it has failed. So India already had the backup. So if World Cup is also to happen in UAE, so probably they can find a window in September in UAE to finish IPL. Maybe have more double headers so that they can slot all the matches in a couple of weeks.
Uh, I don't think it's a nice idea if you look at playing five test matches in England, then coming to IPL, then going to play the T20 World Cup. It might burn out the players. You need to have that regroup, and you need to have that space, because you are coming from a test series. Then I think you have to play a few series before the World Cup.
Yeah,
Especially those conditions. If you look
yeah,
at they play in England, then coming to UAE,
mm,
and so you need to have that regroup say. And if you look at the last series India played, the T20s was in March,
yeah,
and they are not going to play in any T20 series since after
yeah,
till September. They
yeah,
have the VTC final, then they'll be playing a two intra squad matches, then
mm,
they'll be playing a 5 match test series. So they are not playing any T20 format.
mm,
So I think then India needs to play a few games to regroup, especially if you look at other sides. West Indies will be playing against Australia in July. England has few T20 series. They are going to Pakistan to play two T20 matches. So everyone are playing few T20 series. So I think India needs to do that, unless it will be tough to just go into the IPL experience without playing together for
yeah.
4 or 5 months. I think it will be difficult for Indian
So,
team and Virat Kohli as well.
do you think that arranging a bilateral series, like for example, there were rumors that New Zealand and South Africa might
Yes,
actually
South
play
Africa.
us.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, do you think that will be actually a better preparation for the World T20, or playing a high octane tournament like the remaining of IPL will be a better option? Because one thing that
Uh,
can be done, like for example, if you remember, when England came to India, there were actually originally five test matches scheduled, isn't it? So they cut one down because it's a
yes,
T20 year, and they added two
yes,
extra T20s. So maybe
yes.
BCCI can do the same kind of thing with the ECB, that maybe cut one test down so that there's a bit more window for IPL or for international T20 series to be arranged.
I don't think they'll be doing that, because schedule is already announced.
Yeah.
Then tickets will be selling out soon.
Mm.
So I don't think it's a practical idea. Especially we have seen that India versus England will be a 5 match affair from now on. So
Yeah.
I don't think it will be ideal to cut down, especially schedule has
Mm.
arrived, dates has already told, especially others bio bubble thing no.
Yeah.
So they are already arranging these stuff. So right now changing it will be not a practical idea. I
Mm.
think they don't have a certain window. If you look at last year as well, they got the window mainly due to the postponed of T20 World Cup,
Yeah.
or else
Yeah.
they shouldn't have got that window. So
Yeah. Mm.
I think it's not practical idea to host IPL right now. Maybe after the T20 World Cup might be
Mm.
ideal, because you can push that South Africa tour slightly.
Yeah.
They can schedule that, but before the T20 World Cup, it's not ideal for any team as well. Even after IPL, there is ashes, but still you can compensate with something, etc. These things BCCI can do that, but before IPL, it will burn out the players. That's only
Okay.
factor I am concerned about.
Some people will also saying that maybe uh, July is one option because at that time there's no cricket for India. But I don't think that's again feasible because at that time
No,
England is playing Sri Lanka and Pakistan, so
yes,
England
they
players
have
won't
a
be available. Yeah,
they have 100 league as well, starting on
yeah, yeah,
July
absolutely.
21st. So everyone will be
Yeah,
there. So that's not practical. And coming to UAE, and there are
yeah,
not many months. No, you need to have that planning as well. If you look at last IPL, BCCI planned from July
hmm,
to conduct the IPL in UAE. So
yeah.
it won't be a practical idea
Yeah.
to host a IPL in July, etc.
Okay. So according to you, the only possible option is after the World Cup.
Yes, after the World Cup
So
also there are issues because Ashes is
yeah.
there, but still you can do that,
Hmm.
getting a 20 or 15 day window.
Yeah, I somehow feel that even though yes, it might burn out, but they may actually do it before World Cup in UAE itself. Because see, anyway, most of the players from around the world will have to be assembled at UAE for the World Cup, right? So
Yes,
if they can come a couple of weeks earlier and play in the IPL, then they might actually scrap the New Zealand and South Africa series as well. They might think of that as a preparation for the World Cup, because if you remember
yes,
in 2009 and 10 we had IPL just before the T20 World Cup. Do you remember?
yes, yes,
The England T20 World Cup and West Indies. So
yes,
IPL just finished in 10 days or
yes.
something. We had to go there. So maybe
And
something
we
like that.
have the T20, the World Cup qualifiers as well. You need to
Yeah.
play that qualifiers, etc. And also, it need at least one more than 1 week. And
Hmm.
IPL England Test series will be finished on 14th,
Yeah.
and you need to come to UAE,
But
regroup,
I think
etc.
then
You need
that's on ICC to maybe invite the qualified teams a bit earlier, so that when India is
no,
playing in England, they can do in the first couple of weeks of September.
no. If you look at the last year's IPL, the World T20 World Cup schedule, it was just before the World Cup started. They'll be conducting that 1 week earlier.
Yeah, but then again, John's like, I mean, that time the situation was different. So right now, the benefit of that would be since how many teams would be playing in qualifying round, if you know?
But Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, etc., has series, international series during that phase, etc. No,
Oh, during September.
yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
So there will be series, etc.
Because
So
I
I
thought
don't think it's a
since it's a COVID kind of situation, so maybe they can do the qualifier round and the teams which will get eliminated, they can go home and only the top 12 then would be remaining rather than, having all the teams
yes.
together. Yeah.